in terms of our coaches. But before I do that, as you're trying to get settled, I did want to give word from our athletic director. I actually spoke with him in Birmingham for the football media day as he was there with Coach McDowell and two players that were established themselves and setting stuff up. He talked about his strategic plan and how he continues to move forward. Obviously, apologizes that he wasn't able to attend, and so I did want to make sure we acknowledge in this presentation that we will continue to do what's necessary from a director of athletics position to move this program forward. With that, let's get to the business. As I told you, we are into our micro area of the dialogue of college athletics and its connectors to Prairie View A&M. This conversation is to frame from the new paradigm the business framework of college athletics. And who better to represent us is champions in terms of our coaches right here. Let's start chivalry with women. Coach Lindsay, chivalry is not dead, I should say, the volleyball head coach. Lindsay is an alumni of Prairie View A&M University, a former volleyball player. He returned to our alma mater in March of 2023. After being at the helm of East Central University, I have to know something about that. My brother in Chicago. A while back, I tried to recruit him to Atlantis in Prairie View. This is before your time. Coach Lindsay inherited ECU program that was 2-29 and finished last in the Great American Conference, which obviously gave her the opportunity to go there and coach. They had a 1-15 record the previous season. In her first season with the Reigns, she guided the Tigers to the Great American Conference Championship Tournament. That tournament championship, yes. Including a record of 35-38 overall, 25-17, which prior to 2020, ECU volleyball had not made an appearance since 2013. As she transitioned to Prairie View A&M University, first season overall 9-13, conference record was 3-13. That's a 59% winning percentage overall. 81 percentage in terms of conference play. At home was 5-1, so y'all need to get out and see volleyball. They're gonna give you something to be entertained about. Neutral site still impressive 7-9 away was also 7. This included a 3-0 mark against rival Texas Southern University, including the win in track tournament. Lost in the semifinals to the family that won the championship in 2022. Championship that this year was won by Texas State. But you see the natural progression of growth, Coach Nancy. You see that coming through. With that being said, please welcome Coach.
So exciting to be here. Just a couple of things. We were 19-13 in overall, and we were 13-1 in conference, or 13-3 in conference. Regular season as well. So not everybody gets to come back and lead their team that they actually got to play on, and so being able to come back and be a part of the growth of this program is a huge piece to it just brings me together. This is my 13th year coaching collegiately. So I'm just really excited to be here with you guys so that you guys know a little bit more about the program. So.
Now we have men's basketball coach, Coach Smith, whose career is quite extensive, so I won't go through the whole framework, but I think it's important to point out that Coach won 3 SWAC regular season championships as 2019, 2020, and 2021. first year. I was watching. This included a SWAC tournament in 2019. When I went to the NCAA, got it done there. Unfortunately, in 2020, as I told you, they won the regular season, but could not defend the tournament championship because there was a thing called COVID. It was a certain degree, very disruptive. But he fought back through that in the third COVID season, and we were still dealing with that in 2021, and won the regular season again. Awards, the Hugh Durham Award in 2021, 3-time SWAC Coach of the Year, 19, 20, and 21 season. You have none other than I present to you your head men's basketball coach at Prairie View University.
Thank you for that, Dr. Bill. Checks in the bell. First of all, I'd like to say good afternoon. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for life. What a good life it has been. I'd be remiss if I didn't say first, I want to personally thank Prairie View University, Prairie View Nation, for giving me the opportunity to be a first-time head coach. And forever grateful. Like the cliche today, Prairie View, old enough. You've done so much for me and my family. And being here has been, it's been an honor, it's been a privilege. It's not my right to be a Prairie. It's been an honor, it's been a privilege. So I thank you for that, first and foremost. Talk a little bit about our program. All those accolades are nice, individual accolades are nice, and team accolades, but, you're going back 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21. It's been a while. It's time to kind of recreate, some of the magic in the program. Obviously, we've got some obstacles. I'm a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. I'm concerned, but not a complainer. Yes, and obviously the winds have changed. We're going in intercollegiate athletics, as you all know. We talk about the NAA, so many different things that are going on right now that have affected us, but the glass is half full, it's not half empty. I'm extremely optimistic, I'm extremely motivated, I'm extremely excited, about the future, present and the future. A lot of energy. 54 years old. I played about 4 men's leagues a week. I'm still waiting on that NBA call. So Fred, there's Leonard Rose still here. Rose Glory used to be my agent. Miss Merrill, let her know I'm still waiting on that call. Anybody needs a slew-footed, unathletic, catch and shoot, 3-point shooter, I'm available. But first and foremost, again, I've got a lot of energy. I think the future is bright. I think we need to make a few adjustments, not necessarily, I won't say changes, but we need to make a few adjustments to make us to be a little more current with the state of intercollegiate athletics. But the future is very bright. Really excited about the 24-25 basketball season. Recruits some very, very good student athletes that I think will make you guys proud, not only in the classroom, but on the basketball court. And then obviously having the transition out of life and have a great impact, which is what we see in this room. So thank you.
I kind of open it up, you see this again, as I said. We think we know coaches. We get to see, for the most part, on game in terms of what goes on. We learn your kind of demeanor, your ups and downs in terms of coaching folks, the highs, the big wins, the lows, unfortunately, the losses. But if you would share with us, your family, Joe Earth, and yourself as well. I think you recognize a couple more people. If you would, tell me something about your profile that people may not realize when they have a general conversation with you. But tell me something about yourself that speaks about who you are.
That is an excellent question. I'm a little bit like, I guess, the fact that I'm not, much into social media, think that's probably why some may not know some of the extracurricular things. Other than just being an avid basketball player, obviously my faith is very, very important to me. I think I've shared that. I'm not afraid to share that. Even though sometimes on the sidelines, you know, some of the adjectives that I use, I think it's a little bit confusing to be to that. I think, probably the term probably best is, I'm not delivered yet, but I'm getting there. But I would probably say I'm a bit of an introvert. That's probably not described in my bio and probably not seen because most people only see me on the sideline. But I don't do a whole lot outside of people. I don't have guys I have. I don't shoot dice, Mr. McClellan. But just pretty much just a do myself type person. But I like me. And I think you have to start with yourself. I like me. I didn't say love, I like me. And I give myself a lot because I never lose an argument. But I'm still tremendously affected and impacted by my mother's thought process about me. That's very important. At 54 years old, I'm still seeking her approval, right? And I think that's, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are somewhat like that, whether we want to admit that or not. Would be her being a single mother, growing up in a small urban town in Bossier City, Louisiana. I'm just amazed, and I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge her. And I think she did a decent job, but I'm still chasing her approval in almost everything that I do. So that's probably something that people don't know about. I guess the term that the modern day term would be a mama's boy.
Yep. That's my appreciation. That's really sharing. That's what you get coming to the Bahamas in this type of environment. Same question for you, Coach. And I know you had roommates at Prairie Ridge, so I called them up. I'm telling you what has in front of you. We didn't get you some real dialogue, but one of my jobs is to make sure that we get a chance to see behind the facade. These coaches, I want to tell you this, I've had the blessing to be around a lot of different coaches. Most recently, this group of coaches at Caribbean University. I need you to understand, no matter these wins and these losses, we talked about the importance of who you are and who you all become in terms of becoming one of this great institution. These are examples of coaches that I've seen behind the scene and love on these kids in a way that is unique from the time that exists in this environment. As the dean, professor, more importantly, it's important that we understand some of the same professors that you mentored, that loved on you when you weren't necessarily right and who you are today. These are the individuals that are doing it. So I want you to get a chance to meet these individuals more than ever before, because we don't get this opportunity. We should. They have a very busy schedule, a very demanding schedule. So take this in for what it's worth, and if you would, Coach, with all that being said, share a little bit about yourself.
I think that's something that most people don't know about me. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. I'm one of 5 kids, all of which have played Division I athletics. One went on to play in the NFL, others are now in MMA fighting. I don't know why they want to do that. But I come from a family of athletes, so that's just in my inner household. My uncle, he has 4 sons that play Division I football, and so we just have a family of athletes. That's just what we do. And I was raised by my dad, and so ours are kind of opposite situations. I'm constantly trying to get approval from my dad. Absolutely. I'm calling him. My dad's name is Philip Lindsay. I'm calling him, and I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm in the Bahamas. And he's like, okay, let me know. Take pictures, sing whatever you have. So that's something about me that I don't think a lot of people might not know. I think that at first glance, until I open up my mouth, you don't really see how competitive I am. I'm a board competitor. You sit on the sideline, you might hear some interesting adjectives. Just a few. I might be able to, grow some hair on his head with some of the words that I say. But no, I think that that would be the biggest thing. My dad is everything to me. My family is everything to me, but my dad is who I look to for everything. So that would be something about me that most people don't know.
Thank you for sharing that. Keep in mind, if you would, because I'm gonna follow up with you. Take us through a day. And we can do it either pre-season or in season. You can decide on this, but take us through the day from a coaching perspective and what that looks like.
Yeah, so for my team, this was something new for them. I adopted a team that I think had won maybe 6 games in 2022. We flipped the program in a year. So I think that a lot of that had to do with our day-to-day, just kind of getting them used to the Division I model of how it's supposed to look. So this is my second Division II school that I've coached at, or Division I school that I've coached at. And so it's just, things that you're just supposed to do. So my girls are in there at 5 o'clock in the morning. 4:45 for weights. So we get there around 5:45, and then they go on weights at 6 a.m. So they lift from 6 a.m. to 7, and we start practice right after that. We're probably about 7 to 10 a.m. practice time. And this is during season, by the way. So then they go to class. I have probably half of my team is engineering majors, the other half is in the bio area, a couple of kinesiology majors in there. So some very high-level academic players on our team. 3.2 GPA as well. Actually, I have 3 that are currently in paid internships. One is an internship in Atlanta with Nassau. Another one just finished one kind of down by Texas Tech for the bio. Another one is also an engineering internship in Dallas right now as well. So some really high academic stuff going on with the volleyball team. So after that, they go to class. We don't miss class. They sit in the front of their class. They're respectful of class because they know coach will probably drive a golf cart by their class. And then they come back because we have film, and then we have team meetings, and we have all those things. But on the other side of the volleyball, I'm currently in my sports psych PhD, and my biggest thing that I feel like is the most important is for one, fostering, making sure their lives are okay for these student athletes. So my door is always open. I'm at work 24. If I could be 24/7, but I live right up the street as well. So these athletes know they can come to me, not just my players. I have female athletes that come to me. I have male athletes that come to me. My door is always open for any athlete that wants to come in and just talk, get something off their chest, whatever it is. That's the biggest part of our job as coaches. You guys get to see probably about 10% when you guys come to games, but the other 90 is us fostering these athletes to be the people that they can be, who they can come to. And so that's what my goal is as a head coach, is to make sure that my athletes are comfortable, make sure they're safe, and make sure that I'm giving them everything that I possibly can as their head coach. So after that, then they can finally go home, and then we'll see me again the next morning. So that would be a day in the life of my athletes.
Thank you for sharing that interesting perspective, Coach. It's the same question. If you would, go do us a day. Again, you have the right to look at it from all seasons or in season, whichever you prefer to share. But if you would, get us a little bit inside the circle, such we see beyond game day when we get excited. Talk about what it means to lead up to that.
Well, first of all, get my day started off with exercise. I mean, these coaching professions can be very difficult, very tough. I think you have to be right with yourself before you get others to be right. So that's where mine starts. But probably since I've taken the position in 2016, obviously, my 11th year, 9th as head coach, we've set a pillar to our program, right? And we talk about the first one being enthusiasm. The great Ralph Waldo Emerson said, nothing great can be accomplished without enthusiasm. So we all have to be enthusiastic about whatever it is that we do, right? Then we talk about energy, right? That great energy, right? You want to get great positive energy, right? So this is what we talk about. Then the third piece is effort, right? Preview, since I've been the head coach, and I know some of you have watched us play, we haven't always been the most talented in terms of having 5 stars or 4 stars, but I think we've always given great effort. I think the people that really have seen us play, I think you can appreciate that, right? Because I'm an effort coach. Like a lot of coaches, they talk about great X and O's and great on offense and great on defense. I'm an effort coach, right? Because I think if you coach effort, I think that you get the most out of everything that you're doing all your players. All right, and the final piece is toughness, right? I always say tough times are the last tough people do. So we're always going to get a tough team, right? No matter what the hot hairstyle looks, no matter what they're doing nowadays, because there's so much stuff going on in this social environment that we're in, we're always going to be tough, right? And then the other side of it, we talk about preparation, mental and physical preparation, right? You have to be on both sides of the mental health space that we're in right now. You have to talk to your kids and make sure that they're okay. So we talk about that part. We talk about the physical preparation, lifting weights and things of that nature, as Coach Lindsay has addressed, right? Being in the weight room, making sure you're trying to be a champion in the weight room. All right. We talk about approach, right? Whatever they need to do to be able to be at their best, to be able to win the day, right? We talk about their approach, right? And then the final piece is execution. Go out there and execute the game plan, right? And the game plan is not just on Saturdays and Mondays. The game plan is what you have to do on that particular day, right? Getting up, making sure you put the right stuff in your body. I'm a big nutrition guy, right? And I once I learned, what my body needed to be at its maximum, then I became like an advocate for that. So we talk to our players all the time. I mean, we talk a lot about, having sports nutritionists and things like that at Purview. Well, I'm our sports nutritionist, right? And so, we really kind of control, and I say control, it's a bit of a harsh one. We try to monitor the best that we can to make sure, because I think a lot of our kids really don't know how to eat, right? I mean, everything is, my biscuits, like on Martin, a lot of it is, come on, man, don't wake up, man. That's kind of funny, right? You guys don't watch Martin? And normally, most of the things that taste good to kids is not good for them, right? So we talk to them about, greens, they need green things, fruits, vegetables, things of that nature. And we talk a lot about that, right? To try to educate them best. Most of our kids, they know nothing about that. So they eat for comfort. I want our kids to eat for maximum effort, right? To be what to be as productive as they possibly can. So it's right? And sometimes it's not being a pro in that perspective sport, but just being a pro out of life, right? They're gonna be a pro in something. That's kind of our mission, that's kind of our goal to push them to do that. So, it's more of a kind of a dissertation of just learning all that they need to be at their absolute best. And I think we do a pretty good job of that. The only thing we're not doing right now for Nation, we're not winning. And that's going to take that. That's going to change, right? That's my mission. That is going to change. And it's a collaborative effort from what's on the other end of this table to what I'm doing as a head coach, but that is going to change. I'm sure you haven't forgotten how to coach. It's all I've ever really done in my life, so I think I do a pretty decent job at it because it has me 100% focused. Right? I don't play golf for it. I've been in the weight room ever since I've been here. Coach McDowell, Coach Moore, they tried to twist my arm and go out and eat with them last night, but I had another work I had to go and do. So I'm committed to being at my absolute best. So I'm going to give that to my players. So again, that's the long version of it, Dr. Reveal. But what it is really just trying to educate these kids what they need to do to win the day, to be their absolute best, to go out and represent this great institution and all these wonderful people that have this support and try to make them proud.
I'm gonna pick up on some of those points. I'm gonna make sure that now we're gonna do a nutrition plan for all you all. Y'all eat to live. We're gonna have to do that. And now we got the psychologists too, so we're gonna have to navigate world issues. And there's a lot out there. That's a whole different conversation. But I wanted to stick with you and get into it in terms of what that looks like. Obviously, it's a lifeline of the program itself. Let's get into the recruiting. And I'm talking about holistically looking at recruiting. We're going to say the NIL part, next NIL part. I will ask that individually in terms of what that looks like and how do we engage alumni to consider that. We've heard it from the commissioner's perspective. I'm sure if he was here, he would tell you that. That's why I kind of voiced that program that is looking at doing that. We have an organization that is dedicated for that, that's getting off the ground. But with that being said, give us some framework in terms of what does it look like to recruit for basketball at the Division I level? You know, that has the same thing that you go in terms of volleyball at the Division.
Well, you know, it's always difficult.
Before you start, I get this. I get a lot of emails and texts about players, volleyball, basketball, football, coach. And you notice I don't bother y'all with that. It's because I'm not an expert in that area. And I need individuals to really get an opportunity to see what that looks like. There's a difference between what people are able to do at the scholastic level. And this is not that they have the opportunity to play at the Division I level, particularly at PVAMU University, where excellence is what we're doing, not just in academics, but in athletics, chasing change.
It's a difficult space right now because you talk. There's been a real big change since COVID happened. I mean, all of us were affected in some form or fashion, either being affected with it ourselves or losing family, friends, loved ones. It just seems like the kids are a bit different. I'm forever finding ways to try to adjust. It's probably easier for me to adjust to that 15 than for the 15 to adjust to us and our staff. So it's a different type of kid today in 2024. It's just like I said.
Can you give an example of one?
Yeah, you can't curse them out anymore. Yeah, I mean, I came up at a time, Dr. Will, where, coaches could just grab you by the head and direct you into a certain, joking. Yeah, you have to be mindful of how they're feeling and how they interpret. The great John Thompson, head coach at Georgetown, who's deceased, God rest his soul. He said that they have to know that you love them before you can call them blankety. And for me personally, because our program in the last 2 to 3 years has been like a revolving door. We've had a lot of grad transfers, right? Obviously, there were some adjustments that were made at the university a few years ago. And I thought it was for the right reason. And sometimes good things happen and you don't benefit from them, right? So the athletic department, we didn't benefit as much from it because it made it more difficult to get the type of kids that we got in back in, which you alluded to, 18, 19, 20, 21, so just a different type of kid that we had to go recruit. So, and then the retention factor was very difficult, right? Because you bring in 8, 9, 10, I think 1 year we had about 13 scholarships, I think 12 of them were occupied by grad transfers. I mean, you don't have it for 1 year, and then you have to continue to flip the roster. Now I think we're back in a comfortable space where we can go out and we can recruit kids for multiple years. But then you have that 3-letter word that's interfering with this as well. Another word.
And we'll talk a little bit more about NIL.
And really for us, it's really not even the NIL. It's the COA. COA. Thank you. COA, which is been a bit of a difficult obstacle for us. And then we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll stay in my lane. But it's been difficult to recruit. But that's the great thing about basketball. It's just so many kids. Right? I go to church, Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. You heard of it? I go there. I sit in the back of the church in the general admission section where you pay 5% tithes as opposed to 10%. I do that for a reason because everyone at the church has a son, a grandson, a nephew, a neighbor, that can play a part of it. And they're right. I mean, every parent thinks that their son and 4 best players should start. and pray, right? That's just kind of how it is. So you're forever running into people, and you just don't want to say, "Little Johnny's not good enough." You don't want to say that, right? Because you do have a good standing in the church, so you do want to stay in the church, right? So recruiting is tough, Dr. McNeil, but the great thing about it, I mean, I'm pretty sure Coach McDowell doesn't get nearly as many phone calls and emails as I do, because football, that's a tough sport. Very few want to get out there. Everybody wants to play basketball, right? So it's difficult, but I think this year's team that we've been able to convince some young men to come to a great institution, to have a great, and I talk about these three things all the time in recruiting. You come to Prairie, it's a great institution. You're going to get a quality education. You're going to have a great basketball experience, right? Because we put every ounce of our being into this game. My staff and I do it. If they don't, they won't be around very long. And then the third piece is to try to have these young men transition out into society. Once again, they have a great impact. Prairie View produces productive people. That's a staple of our program. We really do.
In terms of recruiting, obviously, no one's shifting from men to women. Different dynamic, but just as important in terms of their efforts and what they need. Talk about what that looks like. Volleyball, which it was just scholastically, it's a lot. Only volleyball is really.
Yeah, no, volleyball is the biggest, which is the most, the highest, has the highest participation rate in high school across the board. They go to these club tournaments where there's 300 courts going at the same time, and each court has about 10 teams on it. So you think about how many athletes that is from age 11 all the way up to 18 playing club volleyball. So when we talk about recruiting volleyball, of course, you know, we have the things that we look for here at Prairie View, and particularly when I'm looking at players. I get a lot of emails just like every other head coach does, but the things that I look for are going to be, obviously, they got to be a little bit, I like them to be a little bit taller. I'm not that tall, about 5'8", but most of my athletes are between 5'10" and about 6'3". The other thing that I look for is a vertical touch, of course. For all my basketball people in here, if all of my players that play in the front row, they can pretty much grab the basketball rim. So that's what I look for with my athletes as well. From a physical perspective, I recruit good people, right? So I'm going to take the time to sit down. I'm going to take the time to get to know you. We're going to have a lot of conversations. We're going to talk a lot. For one, because I need to know that you're choosing Prairie View A&M University volleyball for the right reasons. And that reason has nothing to do with me. If I were to take a step away from volleyball, am I recruiting athletes that want to stay and graduate from Prairie View? Those are the type of athletes that I want. Because when I went to school here, I loved everything about this school. If you would have taken volleyball away from me, I would have stayed right there in phase 1 with my 3 roommates that we are not going to talk about. But honestly, just those are the athletes that I look for. Those people who want to graduate from Prairie View A&M. I want you to ball out for me. At the end of the day, I'm going to give you that freedom to be yourself on the court, because I was given the freedom to be myself as a coach. So I'm not going to put you into a box and say, this is how an athlete on my team needs to act or look or be. No, go out there and be who you are. Now, I got to really win a little bit. I will, but for the most part, I give them the opportunity to be themselves on the court. And so when you guys are able to come to one of our games, that's what you're going to see. They might look a little wild, you know, but at the end of the day, that's how they play at their highest level. So I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm going to give them that freedom to do that. I would also say, again, I look for high academic athletes. I want players who want to benefit society outside of volleyball, who want to be a part of the community. I was, you know, I might be a little biased here, but I was able to have 2 of my athletes cross-pledge in my sorority this past semester, which was a huge deal because it's hard to be in a sorority and be a college athlete. Division I in particular, it's just difficult to do. And so they were able to do that. So we're putting them.
Call that a sorority.
Oh, I'm an AA. Okay. No, just being able to do those things, and so not just putting them into you're just an athlete. Because we talked about the what we do. It's a full day of things, and that's just part of what they do as far as like with the things that they do outside of volleyball, the clubs, the organizations, the honor societies that these athletes are in, I don't think that people really understand how much they have on their plate. So I look for athletes who can do all of that and still manage to be high-level athletes for me as well. And so that I would say that's how recruiting, and of course, you know, when we're talking about the funding, I'll be honest with you guys and transparent. We're one of the only teams that's not fully funded, and we're second in conference. And so it's in the SWAC, we are one of the only teams that is not a fully funded scholarship program. And so,
How far are we away from giving to?
not close, no, I'm just kidding. We're probably fully funded for volleyball is 12, and right now we're at 9. So you have to kind of take that into consideration because we are a head count sport. We can't just get everybody on the team money. Only 12 athletes can be on athletic scholarship at a time. And so that it takes away from what we can really give. But obviously we're gonna make it work, but think of what that would mean if we were fully funded. And that comes with all of our fundraising, that comes with people giving back, that comes with people coming to games and seeing these athletes go, because they go. And when I tell you they go, we are one speed on our court. And you come and watch them and you imagine what it could be and what the type of caliber of athlete we can get and being fully funded and then you can go from there.
Yeah, we're not gonna shy away from that. We're gonna do what we can on our part to make sure that we work with the administration to get you where you need to be in terms of fully funding. We expect there's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, our head count sports as you talked about, we want them fully funded. FCS level football program, we want them fully funded. And that means we need to do our part on the alumni side. We need to work with the administration to see where the gaps are in terms of what we need to do to get that done. Let's stick with that in terms of cost of attendance, because that's the next layer to that. We need to know what's the older, then we'll get the coach. We're going to break it down on the basketball side. We need to make sure that we understand that we're going to look at doing this both, men's and women's. We want to win across the board in athletics, Prairie View, and university. So we need to understand what that looks like. We can't just be fans that just understand wins and losses. We want to know holistically about our student athletes, I like to call them college athletes. Academically, you talk about what that means in terms of the type of students that you recruit and your expectations in terms of what they do for Prairie View. That's important to us, but also in terms of athletics, what it means to make sure that we're doing what's necessary to give you the full power be as great as you can. We have to do that. Right? So please framework what that looks like, the cost of attendance, or even NIL, you can shape it how you want to in that part. What does that look like?
Yeah, so for volleyball, like I talked about, being fully funded is 12 full scholarships. So right now, volleyball does not have cost of attendance. We're making it on the 9 scholarships that we have. And then of course, I'm happy to come here because I'm not only representing volleyball as a female sport, I'm also representing softball, I'm representing tennis, I'm representing all these notable coaches. While we're talking about women's sports, Coach Bland isn't here, but he's our softball coach. If y'all know who he is, back-to-back SWAC championship coach. He's coaching a professional team right now. So again, I'm representing everybody all the women's sports here who could use, you guys' help with things, and just even if it's just support coming to games, coming out and watching these young women play. But the cost of attendance, again, being able to match with these other, we talked about the SEC, we talked about the ACC, all these teams, when they're recruiting these volleyball players are coming in and saying, what can you give me? They don't care about the facilities. If PD has some of the nicest facilities, does have the nicest facilities in the SWAC, period. Across most smaller, the smaller mid-major Division I schools, we have the nicest facilities, but they don't care about that. They want to come in and they want to know what we can give them. We just recruited an athlete from the University of Tennessee who will be our first Power 5 volleyball player to come through Prairie View. And we had that conversation. And the first thing she asked me was, well, Coach, where y'all at right now? And I was like, well, let me see what I got in my pocket. I got about 12. There you go. But for her, she just wanted to come to an HBCU. She wanted to come to Prairie View. But we ended up being able to give her something, but it's nothing compared to what some of these players that are in these Power Fives are getting. A lot of my athletes, Shania Henderson, who's a freshman of the year, she's in the middle. You come and watch her, she has this big afro, you can't miss her.
Right,
Because most people get hit in the face by her own court, to be honest. It's a day of misery. But either way, I think that she ended up with a couple of NIL deals just from us sitting there in my office, sitting out, cranking out emails. So they have to go find it on their own. And for me as a coach, my goal is to be able to present that to them through a collective and say, this is what we can offer you, instead of, let's say you're all night and send out emails so that we can get you some on that back end. They didn't have that when I played. Like I said, I graduated in 2011, fall of 2011. We didn't have all that. We got a Pell Grant, a little swag check. I'm still trying to figure out where the swag check came from, but we did get the swag check. We didn't get that other part, so I want to be able to get that.
You get that swag check.
From a financial perspective, I'm not talking about my full ride athletes. This collective helps out our walk-ons, because we only get 9 scholarships, or the 9 full rides. I have 16 athletes on my team. 2 of them are on full rides academically, but the other ones are paying for their school, and so that helps those athletes out, and those NIL deals and stuff like that. So.
Thank you for sharing. Coach, it's that perspective. You said, and you did a little bit on the NIL, you said really the issue for basketball on the inside particularly is the cost of attendance. Talk a little bit about what that is for those that may not be familiar with the terminology, and where you're seeking to bridge the gap and where we can be supportive of that from our perspective. I do want to make this plea out there for those that have businesses in a position where you can work with athletics, you can work with advancement right here, and we get you more information about how you can uniquely place your business in a position to market itself, brand itself through athletics, but in the same vein, help in terms of what they're doing. So it can be a win-win. This doesn't always have to look like you're just doing it on your side. There's benefits in terms of understanding the brand machinations of NIL, in terms of how it can be done correctly. More importantly, the cost of attendance. We can get you more information about what that looks like to do it within the framework of the rules of the institution and NCAA moving forward. With that, please, share.
Yeah, thank you again, Dr. Bell. The cost of attendance is just basically it's a refund. Whatever's left over from the scholarship. I guess if this scholarship is valued at $24,000, there's $22,000 to go to Prairie View. That $2,000 can be refunded back to the scholarship student athlete. So it's pretty simple. Back 3 or 4 years ago, no one in the conference was doing cost of attendance. I think when Coach Brown got to Jackson State, he and Asher Robinson kind of got together, and I think they started it. And this is not the fact, so you go back and do research. It started before he got there. Don't say, oh, Smith doesn't know what he's talking about. But that's when you kind of start hearing about it, right? And then, but obviously, you've got some innovative people in these various athletic departments, and they want to kind of push it, to the limit a little bit. I think for us, NIL is we're probably a little bit of a ways away from that. I really believe it for it to be able to impact the entire departments, right? So for us, it's cost of attendance, and really for me, it's pretty simple. I talked to a couple of the other coaches in the league, and it's not even that they're going or that we're asking, for the university for more money. It's to be able to use some of the money that we're going out and raising. All right, I'll give you an example. Just throw it out there. We're going to bring in about $700,000 this year. Men's basketball will raise $700,000 this year in game guarantees. And what that means, I know you all are smart people, you know how it works. But every time we go and play in Oklahoma, we go play U of H, we go play A&M, they're paying us to come here, right? And some schools will pay as much as $100,000, right? Right? And you go play Kansas, you go play Duke. I mean, Gonzaga called last week, want to say like they're playing $110,000 because it's pretty late in terms of scheduling. So they're a little bit desperate. So the ante goes up to try to entice you to come out and play. Our schedule is done. So if we play, 11 guaranteed games, that equals out to about $700,000 that we're going to raise this year, that we're going to raise, right? So what I would ask for is $75,000 of that. to be able to just, I'm not a collection plate. It's not Wheeler Avenue. Not going around saying, hey, we're gonna put in the hat. What we would be asking to do is just to be able to take the 75,000 we've already raised, we've already had, and just to be able to use it, and to be able to give each scholarship student athlete $2,500 a semester. So 25 and 25 is 5,000. It's 13 times 5, so whatever that is. It's not even 75,000. It's 75,000. Well, it's whatever that is, exactly. But and so I talked to a couple people about it. $65,000. Drop it. So it's not as initially I thought maybe it was a system issue, that a system option going to be a remote texting. I thought maybe it was a system issue. But I'm being told it's not a system issue. It's just the way that we've done things at Prairie. This is not a criticism. Not here to criticize it, be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. It's just a concern. So I think, obviously, again, the ways of change the bowling and intercollegiate athletics, not just want us to count it. Men's basketball speaking for us, specifically, want us to kind of get you a little closer to not to be keeping up with the Joneses, because ain't up got 65 million this spring. We want 65,000 just to be able to, because it's like Coach Nelson said, Prairie View's got the nicest facilities, not working in a lot of places, right? And like when you go to Lamar University, CM Houston, they're behind us, right? Oregon for years was selling 15 different uniforms, but you're going to be able to play nice helmets and cleats and all that type of stuff. They don't care about that. You used to be a practice facility. You come to this school, you get your own practice facility. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. These were the amenities that these institutions were selling in terms of recruiting. But just like what she said right now, you talking to a student athlete right now, the first question, hey, coach, that sounds good. What y'all, let me preface it. Let me say exactly how the student athlete said it. What y'all talking about? Incorrect English, but definitely.
You know what it is?
You know what it means. What y'all talking about? And so that particular kid, I wouldn't say his name, but that particular kid was at Baylor University, getting about as much playing time as I was at the end of the game. And one of the guys on our staff got this kid into a junior college 2 years before. Kid got in trouble with the law. Nobody would touch him. A guy on my staff got him into junior college, Kilgore Junior College, goes there, balls out, Baylor takes him, gives him an NIL deal, not playing. That same coach called him, thinking he's gonna say, oh yeah, coach, I remember you. You believed in me when nobody else would. You my mom. You my dude. That's how we talk, right? He was the one that said, yeah, coach, the plan that happened for you. You back in Division 1. What y'all talking about? And the kid ends up going to Southeast Louisiana. Right? Southeast can't, Fred, Southeast Louisiana can't touch it. I'm from Louisiana, it's terrible. It's an awful place. You don't want to be down there in Hammond, Louisiana. Right? Alligators and raccoons. That's where you end up going to school. So again, the cost of attendance is real. Okay? It is extremely impactful. Because you got to think about it. All these kids that they're going to the league, right? All of them. Many of them are. So think about this. In his mind, it's maybe the only time in his life he gets paid to play basketball. Probably makes him feel good. All these kids want to have something to tell to their kids, right? So again, I don't think it's a lot, but I think it's just us being able to not break, but just kind of bend a little bit of flexibility. Not you guys, but maybe if certain people are listening around the institution, Ms. Phyllis, somebody I'm looking at particularly, she can move mountains. She can move mountains, right? And maybe if we could just kind of read the reference of things, I think it would be beneficial for all the sports teams.
Thank you.
That'll do it for our time. As you see, we're celebrating you all. I apologize. I thought it was extremely important to tell these stories and really give you more information than just having a question session. So we will move to the next session. We'll give you a quick 5 minutes as we transition to it. We're going to try to keep y'all here. So please, if you weigh in, we're going to keep moving for that. So let's put our hands together for Coach Nancy, Coach Smith.
one or two questions. If you have questions, any questions that you had for this dynamic discussion we had, we tried to get through it so you wouldn't have those type of questions. You got one over here to your right, and then one in the back. We'll see if we can get through this stuff. Go ahead.
One for each coach. The first question is for the volleyball coach. You was on a great high in the championship game, you was in the finals, great game. Have you ever thought about using that high with the UIL and making social media out of that? And then one, as you said, Sarah, who her dad went on the internet and made a big hoopla about, and I got that text and video 20 different times about the Sarah now, her daddy Ocho Cinco. Could y'all make a video and do more social media and run from that height and build that up? Or that is illegal to?
Okay, sorry. Social media, absolutely. I'm huge on social media. I think that that's a huge recruiting tool for us as well. I mean, at the end of the day, you look at our volleyball social media, we're cranking something out every day. That's something I'm very, very big on because that's what our recruiters look at. They look at our Instagram, they look at our stuff. So right now, in athletics, I think all of us coaches are trying to push for more social media outlet, or more stuff being pushed out online, more videos. We have that huge video board in there that's not being used. We need hype videos. We need, again, also, we have one person doing a million jobs. Okay, so now that we have a little bit more help, I think that you'll see more of that. But yes, that's the big push. I'm constantly on about that. Right now, I just left because we had a camp yesterday, which is at the end of the weekend is going to have about 160 campers coming through for volleyball. 80 of them stayed on campus. They got to do all those things. So they were over there taking pictures of these young college hopefuls that were there on our campus for a volleyball camp. And so those are the type of pictures I want to push out. You guys will see that. And speaking of that, shout out to Luxury Goods for making those shirts for us. And then we also, I also want to give a shout out to Ms. Phillips because she did send one of her representatives over and they took videos, they took pictures there. So you'll see all this pictures. That's one thing I'm very happy about is that now all the departments are starting to work together. And also we're alumni supporting alumni. And that's something that we're really trying to push as well. So you're going to see it. It's coming.
Can you give us social media?
PVAMU_VB on Twitter and on Instagram. PVAMU_VB.
Oh, get on it done. Quick. Question from, we had another one, I believe, in the back. Then we'll get.
So my question is on uniforms. The volleyball uniforms. So I don't know what needs to happen or if there's a reason why our uniforms aren't purple and gold. Some of the teams that I attend are in black, and I didn't know it was PB. I thought it was Ramblin playing. It was a tournament, and so I was just wondering why and what can be done if there's a reason why. Yeah. Black, white, and gold uniforms as opposed to purple and gold.
Absolutely. So we did order a new jersey this year that didn't come out. I don't know what you saw. It was the last game you saw. We do now have a purple jersey, and it's a very nice purple jersey. When I first got in, I mean, I can be pretty transparent here. Our locker room was left wide open, and there was stuff missing. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know where it went. 3 legs are walked off, but we had to kind of improvise, and so we got a lot of jerseys again. Thank you to Luxury Goods, because I basically dumped like 15 boxes on her door and said, please reprint this stuff, because we needed jerseys for our first game, which we won against Tarleton. That's a different situation. We had to play in these jerseys that were white, and they weren't regulation, and a lot of the referees were coming to us, and so, but this year we were able to order quite a few jerseys, but there will always be a purple jersey on the court ball. Oh, we have black spandex, because black spandex are just universal, and just for women in general, black spandex are really purple. They do have them in purple, but they also show a lot of sweat in purple, and they become a little bit transparent in purple. So we just kind of stick with the black for the bottoms.
Thank you. Go ahead, one last question.
This is for Coach today. So if the basketball program is bringing in $700,000, shouldn't it stay within the basketball arena? I heard you say, I heard you asking maybe for $75. Just head down. So if you're bringing in $700,000 to basketball team, sounds like that's a guarantee. Yes. It appears to me that everything should stay in the basketball arena, support basketball.
I agree.
Okay. I understand.
Yes, we have to work with it. That's why I say this is collective. One of the things I think is important as we close up to that answer is the fact that education is key. The more that we know, the more power we have in asking questions, supporting what we can. So that's why I want to thank this conference in putting this panel together. The more informed we are with these questions, whether it's uniforms, whether it's cost of attendance, how much basketball makes, how short we are with scholarships. This is not to say somebody's not doing something right. It is the position we're in now, and it gives us a position to ask questions and how can we be supportive to put us in a better position. What is the plan? It may not be immediate, but what is the plan to understand what we can do now? So I wanted to make sure we put that on the front of the table and that we have another question I follow.
One last question.
Sure.
My name is Kevin Bristow, class of 78. And before I ask this question, I did want to make a statement that the astronauts were out of space. And when they went down to the Earth, they said the most beautiful place they saw on Earth was the Bahamas. What is the best, clearest, is not like in Galveston. And I want to say that my question is this, that some coaches are more interested in the programs, more interested in the wins and losses, and the X's and O's, and what about the preparation for life? What are some of the success stories, and how the students after college, and how any of them come back to contribute to the university?
That is maybe the best question of this time. And one young man comes to mind. Yeah, we do have, we do talk a lot about, like I said, transitioning out into life and have a great impact. Back when I was an assistant, 15, my second year there, first year there, sorry, we had a young man, my way of Nigeria, that played no high school basketball. Regis Anwakabuche is his name. And I mean, he couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. You know, probably couldn't run out of sight in 2 days, right? And 2 left feet, 10 thumbs, right? So wasn't very good at all, but he had a desire to get better, right? And so his junior year, he went to 2 years at Lone Star South Air Community College. Again, played no high school basketball. His junior year, he was really struggled a lot, couldn't stay on the floor a lot, fouls a lot. Just his basketball acumen and his awareness of the game was way behind. He worked very hard in the spring, worked very hard in the summer, and he came back his senior year. And I say we, not me, but I was a position coach, by the way. But we, as a staff, as a program, helped him develop into being the defensive player of the year in the SWAC. He was the second team all conference. Oh, and he gets better. This young man is drafted into the G League, right? He wasn't quite offensive minded enough, and obviously points failed in the beginning, but really like typical, Nigerian center, a la Keem Olajuwon, was a great defensive player. Played 5 or 6 years in the G League, right? Started coaching. I had no idea he would started coaching, right, in the G League. Got on with, one G League team, then he goes to another G League team, then the Milwaukee Bucks bring him in. Obviously, Giannis Antetokounmpo, not European, by the way, Nigerian, but by way of Europe. He goes there, they start working together. Obviously, they develop a kinship. Now, Regis now has moved on to the Atlanta Hawks, which he's an assistant coach with the Atlanta Hawks right now. So that is a great story. And he did come back, so to contest this for the Southern game, which leads me to this point, and I'm glad it's a great question. I know I don't want to be too long-winded. We as a group, we as a university, we have to do a better job of acknowledging these people. I talk to Reggie Moore all the time about Kadero Hodge and some of these other guys that are in the NFL and things like that. So the Reggie Sanwakamuche, the Kadero Hodges, these young people come back to campus all the time. And I just think it probably would be good because those people go out and they become the biggest recruiters for Prairie View. Because now they're all over the United States, they're all over the world. The NBA is expanding, it's all over. Getting ready to go to Dubai, it's all in Africa, it's all over the continent, Australia. I mean, the French, I mean, these young guys are coming over in droves. And these individuals can get out because NCAA kind of handicaps us, and me, and Coach McDowell, and Coach Moore, and we can only be out at a certain time talking to kids. But these people, right, they have unlimited access to future Panthers. But I think if we can just put this much, takes about this much of our sugar and sweeten their coffee to make them feel it's a little bit appreciated, I think it's going to benefit Prairie Nation in the future.
Again, it's applause for these two coaches around the floor. Thank you.